Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about detach to become extremely attractive to women. Okay, so what does it mean then to detach? Because it can sound like a bit of a contradiction, because if you're invested in a woman and you really like her, obviously it's going to be difficult for you to emotionally detach from her because you really like her. Okay, but the idea is that you develop a mindset within yourself so that if you start dating a woman and you begin to like her and she starts to display lower interest in you, so let's say she backs off and she isn't displaying the same level of enthusiasm as she was at the beginning, it's the ability to be able to let her go, even though you may really fancy her and you may be really bummed out at the fact that she doesn't like you back or she's not liking you back anymore. So it's not necessarily about switching off your emotions and not having emotions, but it's just simply having this ability to just be able to let go of those women that are not displaying a very high interest in you. Because what you'll find is that some women will be very interested in you and they make things extremely easy. And what I mean by that is that is when you ask them out on a date, it's easy to do so. They don't give you any excuses. They want to see you. They show up. And if they cancel for whatever reason, they give you an alternative time and day where they can see you. It's very easy to get into relationships with those women, and it's very easy to get intimate with those women. Things just become extremely easy with women that have a high interest in you. But you'll also have those women that are sort of on the fence. So when you first start dating them, they are just having a let's see where things go kind of attitude. They don't have a massively high attraction for you. Sometimes they seem interested, sometimes they don't seem as much like they're interested. And it's very easy as well to put those women off. So if you display needy behavior, or you message too much, or you call her up too often, or you just say the wrong thing on a date, they can be very easily swayed into not liking you. Okay, so those women where they're sort of a bit on the fence, those women are the more tricky ones, which is why your game sort of has to be really tight on those occasions when you're interacting with a woman like that. But what I want for you is I want you to just solely be focusing on those women that do have a high enthusiasm for you and high interest in you. But the tricky thing here is that sometimes a woman can seem like she has a really high interest in you, and then all of a sudden she starts to lose interest as well. Now, the most common thing that I find in coaching clients and just the experiences that I've observed from friends and family and the like, is that sometimes what happens is that a woman may display high interest to begin with, but because they have someone in their life that maybe comes back into the picture, like an ex who they have a higher emotional investment in, or who they just like more, they just happen to have a bigger crush on. If that person comes back into their life, if that guy comes back into their life, then they're more likely to just, drop you and go hang out with that guy because they had a higher emotional investment in them. So what basically that means is that higher emotional investment is they've spent more time with that guy, or they've spent more time dwelling on that guy and having and developing their feelings for that guy, whereas they may have only been out on 1 or 2 dates with you, don't know you very well, haven't thought about you as much as the other guy, and that's all it is. And you've probably had that experience with yourself as well. Like you probably have, maybe, let's say you're in your 30s and you have a crush, and you had a crush on a woman when you was about 18 years old. Okay, and you ruminated and you thought about that woman for a very long time, and maybe she friend zoned you, maybe she rejected you in some other way, and it broke your heart. Sometimes you may find yourself thinking back to that woman because you've thought about her a lot, simply because you've thought about her a lot and ruminated her over a lot. So you have quite a high emotional investment in her, okay? And you may think back on her quite frequently. But it's only simply because you thought about her a lot. And you thought about her a lot when you were a teenager. And if you think back to when you're a teenager, those are very high emotional times, and everything seems like a be all end all or the end of the world when things go wrong, especially when it comes in terms of romance and love. So you got to think about that and think that this is a normal phenomenon. So basically, when a woman, what this comes down to is when a woman loses interest in you, even if she had a high interest in you, you've got to understand that it's not, sometimes it's nothing that you've done, sometimes it's nothing that you said or did, and it's just simply the fact that someone else just came into the picture. So it's not always your fault. In fact, most of the time you'll find that it's not your fault why a woman has lost interest in you. Because if a woman had a high level of enthusiasm for you, you could do loads of things wrong and she'll still like you. You could, not have a very good game. Perhaps you call her up just a little bit too often. But if she really, really likes you, it shouldn't matter too much. But the thing is that you may start beginning to like a woman who's on the fence. You may begin to really like a woman who is sort of in that middle category where they could be swayed either way. They could be swayed into having a really high level of enthusiasm for you, or a high level of not liking you anymore because of a certain little thing that you did. So, like I said, when it comes to those women, your game has to be pretty tight. And you also have to have this ability to be able to let go of those women if it does fall, their interest falls so low that they disappear. One of the difficult things that I see guys going through is the inability to let go of these women in the past that have rejected them. And what they still do is they still every so often message her, like on her birthday, say happy birthday, or they say Merry Christmas, or they say Happy New Year. And basically what they're doing is they're messaging these women on these occasions, on these special occasions, hoping that it's going to open a dialogue. She's going to start messaging him more, and then he can reignite and try and make something happen again. It's another reason why some guys decide to take the friendship route and decide that if a woman says to him, oh, let's just be friends, he takes it, because first of all he's begging for scraps here, and also he's hoping that later down the line he can show through his actions and proving himself to her that and doing things to like impress her, that she'll fall back in love with him, or she will fall in love with him. Sometimes it's not always about wanting to genuinely be her friend. Now sometimes it is, maybe you do really want to be her friend too, but you got to think about the overriding emotion. Is your overriding emotion, the emotion that's the strongest, is that to be friends with her? Or is it to be her boyfriend and sleep with her? Because if it's the latter, and your actual, like if let's say, for example, she wanted to not be friends anymore and she said to you, I want to sleep with you, would you be like, no, we're friends, what are you talking about? Or would you jump at the chance? Then that's the overriding emotion. So friendship isn't really that important to you. What's more important to you is being in a relationship with her and getting into her pants, basically, right? So that's just some other kind of phenomenons that I've seen happening. And what needs to happen though is this, is because you've got to let go of these women, because these women who you're clinging on to, that men cling on to, that it hasn't worked out with, that they're hoping somehow it's going to work out with in the future. What this is doing is that it's just a time suck. You're just wasting your time, when instead you could actually be looking for women who have a high enthusiasm for you. So you got to see your time as valuable, because it is. You don't know how much you've got of it on this planet in this lifetime. You don't know how much you've got, right? Whether you believe in reincarnation or not. Right here, right now, the clock is ticking. Okay. Now, do you want to waste your time ruminating over women that it hasn't worked out with, or do you want to detach from them and let go and focus on those women who are enthusiastic about you? And what you'll find is this: when you get so good at that, you'll be able to notice when you're on a date if a woman isn't displaying a very high level of attraction for you. And what you'll do is you'll notice, okay, she's not as enthusiastic as, the woman that I dated yesterday. So I'm going to let go of this woman. I'm not going to focus on this woman anymore, because the girl I dated yesterday, the girl I went on a date with yesterday, she was way more interested in me. She was asking me questions. She wasn't looking at her phone all the time. She was touching my arm. She was being kind of flirtatious with me. This woman who I'm on a date with today, yeah, maybe she's more beautiful than the woman I dated yesterday, but she's not showing as much enthusiasm for me. So what I'm going to do is after this date, I'm not going to message her again. I'm not going to talk to her again because it's a woman who has a low enthusiasm for me, a low interest in me. And what you'll find is when you start doing this, the women, because you're showing strong behavior, the women that did show lower interest will start to become more interested in you because they can sense your strength. Because maybe all the guys before have fallen at their feet, kept messaging them, kept on wanting to date them. And now that you're being different and you've actually let that woman go and you're not going to chase after her, and she's noticed that she hasn't heard from you after the date, she's going to be like, well, what happened with that guy? And she may message you, and then you're like, I raised her interest in me. Because if she wasn't interested in me, if she wasn't interested in talking to me, then she wouldn't have reached out. So you can see how just by playing it a bit cool and by being strong and by letting go of those women that are not enthusiastic for you, those women then start to become more enthusiastic for you. So you're tipping the scales when it comes to those women who are a little bit in between, sort of kind of interested in you, but also not that interested in you, could be swayed either way. And now, obviously, the best kind of woman today and to continue dating and to marry and to be in a relationship with is one of those women that have a high enthusiasm for you to begin with, just because it just makes things easier. They're a lot more pleasant to be around. And usually those women you get on really, really well with and you have a really good bond with. Whereas women that are sort of on the fence from the beginning, if things can sort of be a bit difficult in terms of the flow of communication, because when a woman really likes a guy, she'll be talking to him a lot, unless she's particularly shy. But the general rule is that a woman can open up and be herself more around men that she likes and feels comfortable with. So things just flow better when you're with a woman who is enthusiastic about you. Whereas with a woman that doesn't like you as much, things can get a little bit awkward. You don't really know what to talk about because there's no common ground there usually. And it can be a bit tricky. So the goal really is to find a woman who's extremely attracted to you. But it is entirely possible for you to have a game that's so tight that you can get those women who are on the fence to like you and fall in love with you as well. And if you would like more tips on how to be that kind of guy who can tip the scales basically with those women that are sort of half in and half out, then you can go and read my book, Attracting the Beautiful Woman of Your Dreams. And you can read it totally for free on my website. All you need to do is go to www.christineloveridge.com. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to log into the website. The book is there totally for free for you to read. All you have to do is go to the menu on the website and click on the book, and it'll take you straight there to the PDF reader. Like I said, you don't need to log in. There's no confusing landing page. It just takes you right to the book. The only thing that is also present on the page is a little link that will take you to the book itself if you want to buy a physical copy or if you want to get the Kindle version on Amazon. Okay? But you don't need to get that because everything that's in the physical copy, is on the website. Okay? And if you read that and if you go through it enough times and you make it become who you are, so that every move you make when it comes to women becomes instinctual and you're doing the right thing every single time, then yeah, that's all you need. You just need that. And the way that you can retain the information is by going through it a few times. And obviously supplementing that with videos of mine and other great coaches here on the internet as well, because you'll find some really valuable resources here on YouTube. Here's a bunch of my favorite sort of like dating gurus. So Coach Corey Wayne. There's also resources by Mark Manson. His book Models is really good. Dr. Robert Glover, his No More Mr. Nice Guy, and also his Dating Essentials for Men book is really good too, really good resource. And you can easily find those on Amazon, and you can get the Audible if you've got an Audible membership too. And I shall talk to you again very soon. And also, if you like coaching with me, if you feel like you need help with a specific situation, then you can go and purchase coaching with me if you like on the website www.christineloveridge.com. But to be honest, if you read this enough times and if you watch enough of my videos, you'll get a good view of everything that I teach and basically the ins and outs of everything. Okay, so coaching is always optional, it's never necessary. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.